Good morning. This is Valley Anderson. Today is Monday, January 17th. Welcome to this special sunrise with Dr. Surajit Khanna. Dr. Khanna, being a servant of the underserved and an advocate for the Juvenile Justice Reformation Act, launched the Returning Youth Initiative to uplift and provide opportunities to post-incarcerated and high-risk young adults to redirect their lives into something positive for themselves and their community. There are very few individuals across history who have had as much impact and influence as Dr. Martin Luther King. He was a social rights activist, organized peaceful protests, and led by example in his quest for equality for all. He has left us with a legacy and an example of how to create real change for some of society's largest problems. He was a living proof that your dreams are attainable and that in unity we have strength. Today, we have Olympian Ariana Ramsey and Mr. Ryan Fagan joining us as our guests on this special episode to share their thoughts on the progress we have made through Dr. Martin Luther King's work and the social climate today. Hi, Dr. Khanna. Would you like to start off this discussion?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Valley. Good morning, Ryan. And welcome and good morning to Ariana Ramsey. I'm delighted that today, in this most memorable occasion of Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, we are hosting this wonderful sunrise, especially for the young adults. I would apologize for my voice, but I would like to focus some of the core elements that influence me and this initiative, which I would request Valley Anderson to kind of elaborate that on my behalf.
For sure. So the first core element was boldness. And just like how Dr. King felt a strong sense of urgency to challenge unjust laws and the terrible treatment of Black people during the civil rights movement, similarly, Dr. Khanna felt a strong sense of urgency to challenge the Juvenile Justice Reformation Act and how the post-incarcerated young adults were treated unfairly. Number two, being culture. One of the elements that made Dr. King's movement so remarkable was how he was always diligent about making sure there was clarity around the norms he and his team implemented. Our Returning Youth Initiative also clearly demonstrates assisting the young adults between the ages of 18 and 28 to restore their lives and reintegrate them back into society. Number three, belonging. When we look at the issues Dr. King fought, one unifying thread that links all of them together was belonging. And what is belonging? The space, the environment, and the people of those who carried out the movement. Dr. Khanna's Returning Youth Initiative also ties together based on the similar belongings. Therefore, in order for us to be all successful in taking this initiative to all 3,142 counties, we have to benchmark these three core elements that Dr. Martin Luther King implemented in his leadership.
Thank you very much, Valley, for highlighting these three core elements that Returning Youth Initiative is focusing on. Again, I repeat, those three core elements were boldness, clarity, culture, and belongings. So now, the floor is all yours, Valley, Ryan Fagan, and Ariana Ramsey.
Yeah, so Mr. Fagan, do you have anything to say about the principles of Dr. Martin Luther King?
Well, I think it's as we reflect on this, and we should do a better job, I think, as a society, not just focusing on the legacy of Dr. King and what he did on one day, but I think as we really draw attention to this and we look at it, it is these three factors are seen throughout everything that Dr. King stood for. It obviously it took a bold individual to put himself where he was, and not only himself but his family. He was a very young man when he rose to prominence in the civil rights movement. 1955, he was late 20s. He was a very young man. And to put himself in danger, to be bold, to stand up when others knew that injustice was there, but but couldn't find the footing. He was bold enough to stand up, be the face of that movement. And he paid the price. Ultimately, he was incarcerated for, numerous times, for long periods of time. His home was bombed. His family was threatened. Everywhere he went, he was threatened. And ultimately, it led to him being assassinated. But the boldness with that, just creating that. But how, and also, another element of this is the culture element. Is that, as one of the things that I admire about what Dr. Khan is trying to do with his Returning Youth Initiative isn't just that element of helping the post-incarcerated individuals, but it's reaching out to society as a whole and saying, these folks that have been cast aside belong in our society. They are part of our society. They have a lot of things to offer, and to educate society at large to the value of this group of people and any young people. And I think that's something that Dr. King, when he was alive, when he was standing up for rights, he was that boldness that he expressed, taking that out and letting people realize, hey, this is not something that we as a society can stand for any longer. And then letting people understand that despite their differences, we all are part of the same community. We're all, we all belong, no matter what is the color of our skin, our religious background, how we wear our hair, any of these things that can divide people, what we've done in our past. We're all part of the same society. We're all part of the same thing, and we all belong. And I think those elements that Dr. King stood for are things that we need to continue to address. And Dr. Khan and this initiative is doing that in many regards. It's just, we need to carry that message forward. And I think it's very powerful to take that and just continue on and realizing that, hey, the fight that Dr. King was battling in the 50s and 60s and through his life, those things have some changes have happened, but we've still got some things to do as a society to make sure that everyone, regardless of who you are, what you've done, has equal opportunity, has equal acceptance and feeling of belonging in our society.
Thank you so much, Ryan. You made some great points. One of them, I liked how you were saying that he was so young when he first gained that title. And that's true, because I read a quote in a book the other day about how courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting despite the fear. And that just shows like he was so bold to overcome everything. And then now is such an inspiration to so many. So thank you so much for talking on that. Now I'd like to hear from our Olympian guest, Ariana Ramsey. What would you have to say about the principles?
I think Ryan pretty much touched on everything. Great points. I think, like he said, Dr. Khan's initiative, I think that sense of belonging is huge. Like the fact that these young people have been incarcerated, they deserve to be re-entered into our community. Like they are humans, they are people, they're just people who live a different lifestyle than us. So I think that sense of belonging is huge because we're all the same, we're all humans and we're all people. And I really like what Ryan said about that. Like no matter what we all been through, we're all the same people. And then Dr. Martin Luther King in general is a legend. Like he stood up for what he believed in. And I think a lot of us can follow that. Like there's so many things that happen in the world that we just don't speak on, we don't act on. And if we continue to be bystanders, things just aren't going to change. So it does take that one person like Dr. Martin Luther King to really stand up and make a change. So it's a hard thing to do. It's a bold thing to do. Like, for example, playing rugby, hard, bold thing to do. Like a lot is at risk, but the impact that you have and the impact that you have on people is just far greater than that risk that you're taking. So, yeah.
Well, I think Ariana, that's great. What you're talking about is that drawing it back to your analogy with rugby, you being a world-class rugby player, and that didn't happen overnight. You've put in the effort. You've prepared yourself for the opportunities to present themselves when they do, for you to be part of something because you put in that effort. And we see this. We all look and say, okay, Dr. King was this guy that was there, but he had prepared himself from a young age. He took the opportunity. He pushed himself through to become a very well-educated, very articulate, well-spoken man. And that is, so he could convey that message in an intelligent way, but also could reach people. He prepared himself, and just as you've had to do with your training through the years of getting yourself, your body condition, your muscle memory, all of those things, getting yourself refined and established, and placing yourself, preparing yourself to be available and be ready when that opportunity presents itself for you to have the opportunity to represent your country and do those things and play at the highest levels out there. That's amazing. And I commend you for that, but it's a matter of taking that opportunity to prepare yourself for what's coming. And that's something that I think is important as we go through as well, is to recognize that most of the battles that we fight, most of the things that have been successful are because of being in the right place at the right time, but also preparing yourself, taking the steps necessary to be able to do that, and letting that boldness, to seize on that sense of urgency when it arises, to take those steps. And I think that the hard work, the preparation is vital.
I agree.
Most definitely. And I liked how you said about the preparation. And I'd just like to highlight about the preparation that went into Dr. Khan and how he started this returning youth initiative. Like, very bold of him to start and to help not just everybody, but to really focus on the young adults, because there's a lot of other organizations and initiatives that help like just a broad number of people. So just narrowing down was really nice, and making these people feel important and loved, and helping them with trainings and finding out what they want to be and helping them become what they want to do. So just hats off to you, Dr. Khanna, for standing up for them and trying to make a difference within this everybody's community.
No, thank you very much, Valley. Thank you, Ryan, and thank you, Ariana. Again, sorry for my voice, but I really want to salute Dr. Martin Luther King on this particular day, that his core principles should be implemented and give inspiration to every single young adults. Doesn't matter whether you are post-incarcerated or high risk in the community, but any body should have this boldness to stand for injustice, stand for the community, so that you can give a better perspective to the community, because this is important today. A lot of things going on in today because of pandemic, because of gun violence, because of racism, Black Lives Matters, abortion, means you name it, every single thing came out since 2020, and we are in 2022. We need to stand up. We need to be bold enough, and we need to have complete clarity what we do. And clarity comes from the culture. What is our culture? Our culture is to bring clarity among ourselves. Like I was listening what Ryan said, regardless of the color, you have to stand up. Regardless of race, sex, religion, whatever, we are human being. Be a human, stand up. That's exactly what Dr. King did in this young age. He went to prison 30 times. 30 times. Young, till he was assassinated 30 times. Came out. He did not give up. People tried to break him. He did not break. So is, and how we can relate this to Ariana Ramsey? Well, she's from Philadelphia. She broke her shoulder, sprained her shoulder many times. Did she give up? No. She was successful last year to go to the Olympics in Tokyo. When she came back, she broke her hip, she broke her shoulder again. Did she give up? No, look, she's right here with us today with inspiration that nobody can break when you have the spirit to be bold enough to move forward. So my dear young adults, those who are listening to this or will be listening to this on this special episode of Dr. King's birthday, please stand up. Even if you went to jail, even if you did mistakes, that's past. Move forward. We are there for you. We will be giving you the tools. Let's move. Exhibit your talents. And we are there. We are coming to every county in this country. We're not leaving any stone unturned. These four of us, those who are on the screen today, we will be coming to you. There are many people behind us, behind the screen. Those who are not showing up their face in the screen today, they're also with you to make sure that you succeed. Your success is the country's success. Don't give up. Again, thank you very much, Valley, to bring this episode in live today. And thanks for our two wonderful participants, Ryan Fagan and Ariana Ramsey.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Khanna, Ariana Ramsey, and Mr. Fagan for joining today. For those of you to wish more about this initiative, please visit the website returningyouth.com. As always, we bring Sunrise to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, shortly after 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also have two other podcasts you can watch, 15-Minute Weekly News and the Bridge to Faith program. You can watch those on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube at Returning Youth or Khanna for Youth. In addition, please don't hesitate to reach out to 1-844-375-4266 or through the Returning Youth website, the Contact Us tab. Again, that number is 844-375-4266. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on Wednesday. God bless.